Hey everybody, Geek Protagonist. Here we go again. So Indy Navarrete, who has been the internet darling, because people are like, oh, she's kind of nerdy. She likes weird things like Shrek and Transformers and Optimus Prime and all this stuff because of a session. See, my first actual experience with her is the Avengers, Superman and Lois. I freaking loved her in that role. I was like, this girl is incredible. And I just thought she killed it, how she played the kid, the teen, the whole nine. Now, with Obsession, the world, and I actually started following her, I was like, oh, she's really cool. She's funny, she's geeky, she's, entertaining, she seems down to earth. And the internet kind of caught on and fell in love with her. But they will always and eventually turn on you. So she talks about X-Men, she wanted to play Mystique, which was a hint to her probably saying, hey, I'm going to play Rogue, because I think she's aware that Mystique is Rogue's other mom in the comics. Whole thing, don't need to get into it, but Mystique, Rogue, Nightcrawler are connected in a specific way. If you read comics, you know how they are. So now people are like, I don't see it, she can't do it. I'm like, why? And then I seen the same thing with the new girls playing Storm. I've never seen her in anything. I think this is like her first major movie role, and people are like, she's not dark enough. She's darker than the previous two actors that played Storm. Also, she's dark enough. Let's not do this colorism crap. Okay? We wanted a darker skinned Storm to match closer to the comic. She's a darker skinned person. She's darker than me. So stop crying. Like, I'm tired of these stupid nitpicks. And now I'm seeing people go, but she doesn't look like Rogue. It's terrible casting. Just some of the worst casting I've ever seen. Yep, because I remember this as a kid, which definitely dates how old I am. I remember Michael Keaton cast as Batman. That's horrible. Jack Nicholson cast as the Joker. He's too old. That movie's gonna just fail. There's just terrible casting. Terrible. Right? The Batman 1989 was horrible, right? And I think currently he's the best or voted best Batman again. But remember, terrible casting. The Batman animated series Joker is heavily based off of that Joker. The one that everyone calls iconic is based off of the 1989 Joker. Terrible casting. Heath Ledger, terrible casting. Now, I was on board with Heath Ledger from the door because I've always been a big fan of Heath Ledger. But, terrible casting as a Joker. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Terrible casting, right? I'm not saying she's the greatest person to ever act or to do something, but let's be frank. People didn't really have an issue with her to Justice League and stuff because some of her she's not the greatest actor, but no, people liked her in Wonder Woman. And they liked her overall as Wonder Woman. I remember people was doing it. It was Wonder Woman 80 whatever it was. I don't even remember, 84 or whatever. Yeah, 84 that people started going, now we can't like her now. Like, yeah, no, y'all were against her, and the reason why we were against her, and I remember she talked about it, was because she didn't have big boobs and she was too skinny. Now I wanted her to bulk up a bit, which she did, and then I know when Wonder Woman she was pregnant, so it kind of like helped. I didn't need her to be super bulky, just a little bit more, and she did it. I didn't need her to be this, I mean, I expect Wonder Woman, I think of Amazon to be something like built like a Jade Cargill, but they don't have to be. If you got enough size and enough presence, it works. But she was terrible casting, right? Chris Evans as Captain America, terrible casting. He just does comedy. He's a Human Torch. He just does comedy. How dare they? How dare they? Robert Downey Jr. can't play anything but Iron Man. Now you hear Doom's voice, you see Doom's mannerisms, you can definitely see there's a different Doom and with the mask and stuff, and he kind of gives off a different feel. But nope. I mean, maybe the movie's trash. I don't know. We didn't see the movie yet, but when I see that last trailer, the way he spoke about, this is my family and the Latvian thing, and he had the mask and the things, which really helps as Dr. Doom. But terrible casting, right? Who? I'm trying to remember. I know there was another. Oh, Hugh Jackman. Too tall to play Wolverine. Not rugged enough. Not this. The Broadway here. He did dancing and singing. Oh, he's terrible. Right? because all these casting choices are just horrible, right? I'm trying to think. Actually, funny thing is, I think there's more. Tom Cruise's Reacher. He did a good job in those movies. But beyond that, what I'm saying is, she's an actress. She's a good actress. We haven't seen clothing, heard a line, saw a hair change, nothing. And because you can't see it, they're like, you're calling it terrible casting. Like, how many more times? and like I said, because there's other ones. I'll have to think a little deeper, but I remember. Oh yeah, Ben Affleck playing Batman, and how he was just horrible because they based it off of Daredevil. Robert Pattinson, the Twilight guy. Like, come on. Like, that's a like, and he did a great job as Batman. The whole point is that just because you don't see it, I've seen. Not Southerner. Not American. Well, the other two rogues are Canadian playing Southern. The voice actor and Anna Paquin are Canadian, but they were playing a Southerner. Like, come on. Let's give it a chance. Let's see something first before we just immediately write it off. Like when they got Adam Whistling to play Sinister, I was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of him playing Sinister, but he's a really good actor. He probably pulled this off nicely. If an actor is showing me enough that they got enough skill set, I'm gonna at least see if we can give them a chance. And she's definitely got the skill set. And also, I'm seeing people like, oh, she better pull off that Southern accent. Not really that hard to pull off the Southern accent. Now, I know Rogue is from Mississippi, but they're probably not. They're just going to do a generic Southern accent, more cartoonishy, because that's just what it does, and most people can go, "Oh, that's a Southern accent." Most people can't even tell the difference between a Texas accent, a Tennessee accent, a Georgia accent, or like the Texan or like the Tennessee with the Tennessee, but they can't even tell the difference between that and like Texas. Like, it's just, you just can't tell. So my whole thing is, I named all those different things because those castings ended up being pretty decent, or we're feeling like, hey, this could be something good. Sometimes you got to just see what they come up with, then see. Now, you could be cautiously optimistic, cautiously pessimistic, where you're like, she could do good, but I don't really see it. And I get that. But this whole thing of, oh, she is like, the people are like, it's the worst casting ever. It's generationally bad, which I hate the stupid generational term. That thing will be generational. This title run will be generational. Like, stop making up stupid stuff, please. I know people are going to call me corny. I'm like, it's bad enough with the R farming junk. But I'm like, why is she terrible casting? She's a good actress. She proved how versatile she was with Obsession. I didn't even watch Obsession, and I know she proved it because I've watched her in other stuff. Like, let's give her a chance first. Let's feel it out. Let's see what it is, because there are so many times and so many instances, and like I said, I can name more, where people swore all these people were going to be just terrible casting. They end up doing it, and it's like, oh, they're actually really good. Or you get to the point where they're like, well, that's the only person that can play that role now, because they do that with Wolverine. So my big thing is, let's stop the BS. Let's stop the extra babiness. Let's just see. Just be, like I said, you can be cautiously optimistic, cautiously pessimistic. But any of the cast could maybe not be a good choice or a good fit for a role too, that you might think fit. And a character does not always have to look exactly like the character from the comic to pull off what they did. They just need to be similar. Like I said, like for example, Heimdall, Idris Elba doesn't look like Heimdall. So all I'm saying is just give her a chance, okay? I just gave you a bunch of examples of people crapping and shitting on these people, and then all of a sudden going, oh wow, they're great now. So let's slow down the hate breaks, Thanos, and let's see where we're at first. Then let's maybe see her as Rogue talk or do something. I know people wanted I think her name is Kelly Spiner. Am I saying her name right? The girl from Alien Romulus. I can't remember if I'm saying her name right. I think it's Kelly Spiner. I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. She can pull it off. Like, I get it. Just like when people were mad about David Idris to play T'Challa, like, I get it. But just because you don't like the thing doesn't mean that it is. And I'm like, let's see what they do. Let's see them in costume. Let's see them in action first. Then see if we maybe a trailer at least. People, you gotta stop jumping the gun on so many things. And like I said, I am not saying you shouldn't. You should just be like, I love it. I mean, if you're like, I'm not really feeling it, but the backlash of her casting doesn't make sense. Especially if your only thing of her is obsession, then you don't even know what the quality of what she could do. How can she do it? Rogue is a complex character that needs range and everything. If you're playing her right, she has a lot. She has to deal with the fact she can't touch people. She has to deal with the fact that she's in love with Remy. She has to deal with like a lot of factors that we don't know. So maybe we're gonna get a more comic consensus kind of Rogue, but let's just wait and see what comes out of it first. Then we could be like, all right, this is great, or then we could be like, okay, this is bad. All right, keep protecting. You stay safe, you stay healthy, stay real. And sorry for the sarcasm. It's just all these like actors on top of my head were like bad choices, and yet people like them. So I don't know. All right, see ya.